In this episode, I sat down with Rutvi Sanghavi and we had a chat on what's up on being a student with this crazy pandemic. Back in India, she tells a little bit on the university, the program, but I think more importantly, the internships that she has been taking already, on not procrastinating against that, always taking advantage. If you can get those internships rolling before anyone else, that's way better. Actually, she got pretty great internships in my opinion. The very first one was a internship working with a distillation, rectifier section, all that, the stages, reflux, working with that. And the second internship is with the famous Jacobs engineering firm, talking about more into the administrative roles rather than actual process engineering. And finally, with a small firm, which is also a EPC, more about into the actual design of unit operations. So it's also great to share that story as well. So guys, let's check it out.
I was placed in a company called as Glenfin Chemicals Private Limited. It is a bulk drug manufacturing company, private company. Like we had varying pharma products, and the company was I will say a medium sized company, and they did not have any fixed product. They had varying product, and it depended on how or what kind of orders they are getting and what kind of things they are doing. We had various unit operations set up. Like if the company is a bulk manufacturer with varying products, we have a certain set of unit operation fixed for the processes, and that we are aligned, and that we are stiffed and that are fixed. So that is how it happens. We had a glass column, glass lined reactors, steel reactors, and absorption column, all the basic unit operation that we have. So as a part of my internship, we had to submit this project. So that project depended on that what kind of my mentor is giving me. So I got rectification, distillation.
Welcome to the Chemical Engineering Guys podcast, a show in which we share stories and tips from chemical and process engineers. We talk about student and professional life, as well as important aspects of products, processes, industries, and companies. But more importantly, what are the paths that these unique individuals are taking in this ever-changing world? Let's get started. What's up, guys? Welcome once again to the Chemical Engineering Guys podcast. This time, Rutvi Sanghavi is with us. She's a student from the TJ College of Engineering back in Mumbai. So, Rutvi, let us know more about yourself. Let us know why did you decide to study chemical engineering and whatever thing you feel it's relevant.
Hey everybody, I'm Rutvi Sanghavi from Mumbai, India. I'm currently pursuing my chemical engineering bachelor's degree from Dwarkadas Lal College of Engineering. So I from a little kid, I grew up watching my father. My father is in the same field. That is, he is a chemical trader. So I was very fascinated by how this chemical thing work. Like it is something new to me, and I was very fascinated. So I tried to learn from him, and slowly and steadily my interest developed, and I am here right now. So I passed my high school graduation. After that, I pursued a diploma in chemical engineering from a very well reputed college, and from that there I joined my degree. So that is how it has been. So chemical engineering is a very generic field. Like it is one of the oldest branches of engineering, and still not many people are aware of its perks and how a chemical engineer person behaves or what is their core thing to do. So I like more people to have an idea of how it works and how it goes.
Okay, that's nice, Rutvi. And since when did you decide to go for chemical engineering? Did you have any other options or maybe alternatives that you wanted to explore, or was it always chemical engineering?
Actually, no. You may call it a child's dream or what. I was very fascinated with aeronautical engineering. I really wanted to be an astronaut unless and until I was in 8th standard. But because of certain circumstances, because of I live in a country like where aeronautical is not so famous or not so pushed yet. It is a very isolated field and not many people know about it, and for a career aeronautical is not very much suited. So with all these reasons, my elder sister guided me. Like apart from that, my second option was has been chemical engineering, but aeronautical was where my heart was. So but later on, when I entered this field, I fell in love and it just meant to be, and it worked out well. I actually I actually have a gold medal in my diploma college. That is, I ranked first in female in the entire state. So that's quite an achievement, I feel.
Let us know. Did you had any other alternatives for your current university, or was it a dream of yours to go here, the DJ college, or I don't know, maybe even move from Mumbai? Did you had that in mind, or what was your? So why did you select the university you're right now?
The college I'm in currently right now, that is Dwarkadas Sanghvi College of Engineering, is one of the most reputed colleges for chemical engineering in Mumbai. It comes after UDC, but because I did diploma, I was not eligible to apply for UDC. So this was my second best option. I had a cousin who was in the same college, and I grew up watching her. Like the way the college worked, the campus is beautiful, the teachers are so helping, and the way her personality molded after she entered this university was something I was very attracted to. I wanted to be that, that inclination towards it. So that led me focus, and I had a mentally set goal that if I want to do chemical engineering, I should do from this university, or there's no point of doing it this. So hopefully things worked out, and I'm in this university right now.
And for instance, how many chemical engineers does that college graduates every year?
So, okay, it generally has an intake of 70 people, approx 70 people. Our batch had a little higher, that is 80. So that is how it is very flexible. They were generally recently there were talks of shutting off this branch because it was very old and not many people is applying for this. But our HOD or head of the department really wanted to, because the established the college was found out, the founder, that is Dwarkadas Jivanlal, was himself was a chemical engineer. So it is quite it's quite a thing. So that's how it was, and they fought really hard, and the stream is still intact.
What's the female to male distribution in chemical engineering? Because I think it changes drastically depending on what type of university you go, the country you're in. So it will be interesting to know what's the final distribution. Because I know many in the beginnings, there's a lot of different maybe distributions, but what's the final distribution? What's the average male to female ratio?
So I'm gonna say it's quite low. Like it was very good in my diploma colleges. In my engineering college, it is quite good. I'll say 7 to 1, 7 male to 1 female. That is quite bit, and we have a good number of female in our class. So because I was surprised, because this tends to be a on-site job where females are not inclined towards this field. But right now, because of the consultancy firms and everything, they have an option available. They have an out if they don't want to be in proper core and not be in manufacturing unit. They can apply always go for consultancy firms or non-tech jobs. So it's quite good, 7 to 1, I'll say.
Okay, that's interesting. I would say mine was maybe one female to two guys, maybe three guys. So it's like a 25%, I would say. Okay, Rutvi, I just was curious because I know India has a lot of females going to the engineering fields.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for especially countries like Mexico or Brazil, India that are, let's say, quote unquote, developing. That female go into the workforce, well, especially in engineering fields or science fields, this so-called STEM. So that's nice to hear there.
Yeah. I recently did a course on Coursera. Like it was a psychology. It was very basic course. It said introduction to psychology. They said that only, like women generally has very particular clean mindset. Like when they are focused in one particular thing, they can the best property or best thing. Property is a very technical term. The best feature of a female brain is like they can multitask.
That's very important to consider. I am very bad at multitasking, but I see many female doing great in at multitasking.
Our brain are engineered that way.
So let's see how. I think it's very important know how to multitask, but I think it's way more important know when to do it because sometimes it can go and create chaos. But if you do it right, it helps you to achieve other tasks.
Yeah, I
So
actually faced similar situation.
okay, okay. So Rutby, let us know more on your college. What's the main focus of the college? Is it for students to go to the industry? Is it for students to keep their remainder and go for maybe a master or PhD or maybe research? What's the main focus?
Okay, so my college generally we don't have such criteria, but our professors, our faculty generally pushes us to go pursue more, do our masters and get extra degrees because they understand they are been there in the practical world, they know how the the world works. So they generally push us to go abroad, or at least if you are staying in India, do a master's degree or get a master's degree and do further, because right now, because of India has, you as you know, India has a very high population, and with a bachelor's degree there's only a certain position you can acquire to or you can jump to. After a particular position it is very difficult. If you don't have higher studies, higher education, you can't be promoted further, so that's a very big disadvantage, I'll say. So generally they
Okay,
pushes us. Yeah.
I see, I see. And how do you, I don't know if you maybe talked or have any kind of contact with graduates from that college. The What do they say? Do they feel that they are prepared or do they feel that they might have more, I don't know, certain skill sets, for instance, more unit operations or more plan design, more into project management? I don't know. Have you ever had any kind of contact?
Yeah, I generally say, right, I had a very good friend who is a graduate right now. He is in marketing field, like he is a chemical engineer too, but he opted for marketing field because right now what is trending is IoT and coding and everything, like with IT industry, that is the core right now, and data analyst and this thing, data management is the key fields if you want to work right now and achieve good things or get a higher pay. So that is what he told me, this pro tips, like if you want to do something, you can do with your chemical engineering knowledge, and with proper coding knowledge you can go into different simulation stuff and learn different softwares. That is the thing right now. So
Okay, that's nice to hear. I also think that coding is getting each time more relevant for chemical engineers. Maybe not to all chemical engineers, but as time passes by, artificial intelligence goes, some coding, some automation, control, programming, all that is getting each time more useful for to the chemical engineer. And I think most of the universities or the programs I've checked, they lack some the more we need more on programming and having more contact with software rather than just using them as mere tools. We need to focus more on them.
yeah, that's what now in our syllabus, like what we studied, the everything which we are studying right now is very old fashioned. As in there are so many new technologies, no, so many new advancement, but we don't get to hear that from our at least syllabus as academic is concerned. Like if you go through journals, we obviously get to know a lot of what's going on, but our academic is very old fashioned. So we should upgrade it definitely. That is one of the disadvantage or the cons of our syllabus right now, and we obviously don't have any idea or any background about how coding works and how to create algorithms and how to develop a simulation model or anything. So that is a very big disadvantage of our field, which should be included.
So Rutby, let us know more on your current status because we know the pandemic hit everyone in the world and that happens as well to chemical engineering students. So right now you are a, what is it, a senior, junior?
Yeah,
What's
senior.
your year?
Yeah, I am
Senior.
in last year.
Okay, so are you currently going or attending online classes? Did you suspended your courses? What happened with you?
Yeah. So generally the peak of this pandemic occurred in, I'll say, mid March. From mid March, we were all stuck at home. Like we had our sixth semester final examination pending. So everything was shifted online, and they promoted us because of the obvious reasons. The exam could not be held, and there was no provision for online examination at that time. And in this time span of 1 to 2 months, they created these platforms. Now currently our lectures are being held online on a platform called as Microsoft Teams. It is a very nice situation, like they have a meet room and everything is conducting being conducted fluidly. Like, but the biggest disadvantage is of practicals, because we can't go obviously, and only theoretical knowledge is not enough. We need to have some practical knowledge, and those practicals are the key part when you're doing engineering or when you're into some technical field. Practical is more important. So because of this pandemic, obviously practical takes takes a toll. So that is a very big disadvantage. Exams, they are saying they'll be conducting through quizzes or something like that, because theoretical pages are not viable in this time. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, so they were planning. Right now, we are having unlocking guidelines, but the way the cases are going, I don't think so. They'll be allowing us in the campus very soon. So hopefully, they were planning to take practical exams in batches or something like that. Like out of this 80 students batch we have, they'll call five people each time, and something like that. They'll work out. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Like rotation, right? That some group will go Mondays, other group in Tuesdays, and so on.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Like Radvi, I have a question. So, what are your, because senior year is very important, especially to land internships, maybe co-ops or whatever kind of experience. What's happening right now? I don't know. Maybe with your friends, your colleagues, are they still looking for internships, or is it almost impossible to get an internship because most of them were in person?
So internships, I'll say we are still getting internships, but not in chemical engineering field. We are there. Our university is very polite to us, and they had given us a lot of opportunities for internship. But those were mainly focused in IT fields or digital marketing or something that's trending. But they do not give us any stipend or anything like that. If I talk about my internships, I had done two internships previously, actually three internships. One was in a manufacturing unit where I observed and I learned. I was assigned a particular unit operation, like I was focused on distillation at that time. They had a batch rectification column.
Okay, that's very interesting. We can talk about. Can we go in order and let us know more on this first experience? Because I think it's not that quite normal to go directly in your first internship and check out unit operations, especially such as distillation and a batch rectifier. So, how was it? How did you got the job, and what was the experience all about?
Yeah, okay. So it was part of my curriculum. Like I had to do a 6 month internship to complete my degree and get my diploma certificate. So I was placed in a company called as Glenfin Chemicals Private Limited. It is a bulk drug manufacturing what do you say, company, private company. Like we had varying pharma products, and the company was I will say a medium sized company, and they did not have any fixed product. They had varying product, and it depended on how what kind of orders they are getting and what kind of things they are doing. We had various unit operations set up. Like if the company is a bulk manufacturer with varying products, we have a certain set of unit operation fixed for the processes, and that we are aligned, and that we are stiffed and that are fixed. So that is how it happens. We had a glass column, glass lined reactors, steel reactors, and absorption column, all the basic unit operation that we have. So as a part of my internship, we had to submit this project. So that project depended on that what kind of my mentor is giving me. So I got rectification, distillation. So I was to study a particular equipment. Like I had to do a very basic mass balance and energy balance, what is going in, what is going out, and a very basic control system, control loops. So that was it, and the process was very enlightening. generally what we study in theoretical, the things are not very clear, but when you actually see it, when you actually go there, when you observe things for yourself, how the things work, it is a quite different experience. You get to know. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's true.
Yeah.
Going and checking out and working with the unit operation itself will help you back in school and let you like get a, I don't know how to say it, but a better understanding on how the unit operation works. And I'm pretty sure that you work with the rectifier with many conditions, or what was it? What did you did? Was it testing? Was it operation only? Or what was it?
Okay, when I was working, we had a particular product. We had an order. We had a very big order. I am not allowed to disclose the product name, obviously. So that and the process was going on. It was a batch process, and the rectification time was, I guess, 4 hours or something like that. So my job was basically to observe and just do a very basic material balance. So that was it. That was all I did normally.
Okay, nice, nice. But still, you had to see the rectifier. So, do you remember the sizing? Are you allowed to say the sizing? Maybe how much were you producing or working with?
I guess the input flow rate was 500 kgs per hour. I may be wrong. I don't recall it correctly. It is 3 years back. I need to refer my books.
Okay, so it was quite a lot. It was not a pilot plant. It was a
It
huge
yeah,
equipment.
it was a quite big equipment. Yeah.
This. Let's talk about your second experience. How did you got the experience, and what was it about?
So my second experience was in Jacobs Engineering Private Limited. It is actually an MNC company, multinational company. It is a consultancy firm, like engineering procurement services they provide, EPC, what engineering, procuring, and construction things. So I was part of the process engineering group. We had different projects coming in. Like my job was to learn, observe, and do it. The consultancy experience was a very different one for me, I'll say. I got to experience corporate life, like how it works. The corporate world is entirely different of what we have been living in. That is how it goes. Like my mentor, we used to have this revisions, and I actually created a basic PID and stuff like that. I actually was taught this software for heat exchanger designs, HTRI.
That's a famous. That's one of the top heat exchangers software. So that was of great use. I think you can add it to your CV, and you will get a lot of advantage versus your, let's say, fellow colleagues. Let us know on that. How was it? Was it a training, or did you were learning by heart? You had a mentor. How did you learn that?
Yeah, so I was assigned a buddy. Like they, if they were working, so I was obviously an intern, and they don't give so much of technical things to an intern. So what they did was my buddy used to work on this project, and he used to ask me to sit beside him, observe him, and he actually gave me, like, we had 4 to 5 heat exchanger, and like he told me the input data and how to simulate it and everything. So he showed me how to do it. Exactly, he did not actually by heart it. I did not by heart the software or anything like that. I'm not even a pro at it, but I did know a basic and I operated it. So if in future if I get a hand of it, I guess I can minimal operate it in a better way. And yeah.
Okay, but it's that's very important because when you get to see that someone is working on that, we all know that you're not the expert, but a student that has an advantage already, you get quite better an advantage versus your classmates because it means that you, well, first, you had an internship that was directly into engineering. It was not a classical internship that you go just for the sake of having an internship. You had an internship on the consulting and engineering areas. And second, you have a software that it's quite normal, or let's say like the top software in heat exchanger. So I'm sure that will be an asset in your curriculum, on your resume. How was it to work on Jacobs Engineering?
So, like, I actually was taught a few life lessons, like while working in Jacobs. Like my mentor, you always used to say, like, you're allowed to mistake. It is not that every human is perfect and they are not allowed to make mistake. You are allowed to make mistake, but the key thing is you're not allowed to make the same mistake twice. If you are corrected once, you should always keep that in mind and not do the same mistake again. So actually a very interesting thing happened when I was in Jacobs. So me and my mentor, who was a senior engineer in Jacobs process team, we were working on this project. Like, we had the comment markups and we had to form a different revision. So during that, the project was very basic, and not many engineers were assigned to work for it. So it was just me and my senior engineer. So because of some family issues or something like that, he had to go for a week, and the clients were supposed to come to Jacobs to have a meeting about the same, like about the common markups and to revise the PIDs and everything. So because it was just me and my mentor working, my mentor had to leave for a week, and he did not give any prior notice. And it was very sudden and it was very urgent. He could not let it go. And the clients were due next week. So I contacted my head of the department, like, these are the things, like, how are we gonna further? I was very scared. So he told me, I'll be there obviously to guide you. If it is possible for you, take, like, we had a 2 day window. So he asked me if you can do, you obviously know a bit about the project. If it is possible for you, do a little bit overtime and learn about or do your research on what the project is and what is need to be done. So at least you'll be able to present in that meeting. So just to for the client satisfaction, not to burdenize or anything, but very basic things. So I actually was scared. It was my very first time, and in a corporate world, I was just an undergrad student working. And I had literally no idea about what the project was and how was I gonna present in this meeting. So I burned the midnight oil. I did overtime for 2 days continuously, and on the third day the client arrived and we aced it. My head of department also praised me, that some good hard work, and the clients were happy and was satisfied, and my senior engineer mentor came back and it was all good then.
So you had a test on the consulting life, that it's work a lot, and sometimes it happens that you need to work, and then show or present to the client, and then you have these like relaxed times that you have not that much work. So that's very important to consider in the consulting life. Did you like the consulting life?
I am not made for corporate world, I can assure you that. But yeah.
I think that you said also that you have a third experience, internship experience.
Yeah, my third internship was very basic one. It was just a 1 month internship. Those two were 6 months long. This was
Okay.
just a year, so just a month. Sorry, it was also in consultancy firm, but this was a relatively smaller firm, and we were also dealing with the basic engineering project. Here, I was more into the core, the chemistry and thermodynamics and everything. So they asked me, like, I enthalpy balancing, and that was the kind of work I did here. Even this was very enlightening. My mentor was very good. My mentor was actually the director of the firm, so directly I was working under him. So it was a very good opportunity, let's say.
Okay, that's also important because sometimes you can go into a very large company, a multinational, and so, or you can go to a small company and have more access to maybe the boss or the owner, or in this case, the director.
Yeah.
So that's two things that you can consider also. Going to a very like large group in which you everything is standardized, the positionings and the jobs are that there's almost like a path to go through, and there's like family owned business or maybe small firmas in which you may or may not grow faster. Okay, Ridby. Now, let us know more on your current status. So that those internships, I think that you had the courage to go there early, because and that's great because now you have your experience. I know then that some of your fellow classmates may have not gotten any internships or experiences, and right now it will be way harder to get those.
Yeah.
That's always something to consider, to try. If you can do it right now, because in the future you don't know if you will get a job or internship or so what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm very grateful that I did those internship when I did them, because if I would have procrastinated and thought about doing it in my final year, I would have been stuck right now because of this pandemic and everything. I have a few friends who are going through the same phase, right? They delayed the process and they thought they'll do it better. Like we had a bigger window here of 3 or 4 months, so that's better for job internship wise. It gives you a better time span, but because of everything they have to stop. And now it is very difficult. Now there are no jobs. Internships are far from from thinking. So like job wise, I hope this internship works into my favor and gives me an advantage over my peers. But because of the current status, I don't think so much is going to happen. Hopefully they'll find me my resume attractive and guide me and take me in recreatively. Let's see. Because currently, as far as my experiences, I don't think right now internship obviously matters a lot, and it gives me a very big advantage when it comes to my peers, like work experience and how to handle corporate. Because this internship shows like how can you handle pressure, and how good you work under pressure, and how much knowledge about the core you have, and how much exposure you have gotten in the same field which you want to work in. So yes, and I had different projects. Hope that makes an impact and I get a job soon.
Yeah, let's hope for the best. Talking about jobs, what are you searching on? Where are you searching? Do you use LinkedIn or are you going for the famous job searchers? What's the main tool that you're using right now?
So we have this campus placement program, like companies come to our campus and recruits students. So right now, because I'm still in the seventh semester, that is the only source I can go to. Unless and until I finish my degree, I can't apply for jobs outside of the campus. So right now I'm focusing on that. I also applied on 1 2 websites. I have LinkedIn. So those are the other platforms that I've been using so far. It's been good. It's been slow, but it's been good. Companies are coming. Hopefully, the company I actually want to be in a manufacturing unit or consultancy firm in a some techno commercial role. Well, I can actually have my technical side experienced as well as my overall growth, like public speaking and everything, my confidence build up, because techno commercial role brings out the best in you. Like it makes you more radiant, more confident. It makes you grow as a person and as a asset to the company. So those are the roles I've been looking for, hopefully.
Great. So consulting, I think you have very nice skills talking right now. So I'm sure that you have very good public speaking, or let's say stage management. When you're like presenting to the clients, you need to know to let talk, or maybe at what time to present things, at what time to question something, and so on. So that's also some things that we do not learn in the, let's say, the university, but for sure is very important in the when you're working on. Okay. So Rutvi, let us know more on. I know that you want to maybe go for a master degree or a PhD. So what areas would you want to go? And would you, because I think you said that you may want to go abroad. Maybe let us know which countries you are interested in, and yeah, more on your graduate life.
Yeah, so prior to this pandemic, I had my plans for pursuing my masters from some good universities abroad. Like I was thinking Netherlands, I had Texas in my mind, I had Denmark too. The field I wanted to specialize in energy management sector, because that is where the future is. Like energy is the biggest crisis we are facing right now. So that was something new and something innovative. Or I wouldn't mind petroleum also. My second thought was petroleum. So that was the key specialties I was looking for. Netherlands has a very good uh, university. I don't recall the name. I There was a very good university in Ireland too. Even that was very attractive. And others, I guess, I Germany was my backup option. I was thinking if my first priority was Netherlands. Then US also had some Columbia University, was very attractive. I actually wanted to apply there. It is one of the Ivy League, so that was very fascinating.
Netherlands, Germany, USA, those are great places for a master degree. Okay, Ridvid. So I don't know if you want to add something else, or shall we pass to the quick question section?
Yeah, I wanted to actually thank you for having
No,
me
no, no.
and everything. And the thing you're doing, this podcast thing is very innovative and very new. Like, this is what the world needs right now. So, this is how you do it. As there's a pandemic going on in our field, we can't do much sitting at our homes. So, this podcast is something very innovative.
Thank you. Yeah, I had like been waiting for this because I always had this idea of interviewing other fellow chemical engineers, and the pandemic was an excuse, a perfect excuse to start it because, as you stated, it is everyone is at home, they have time, they want to connect. It's harder for them to maybe meet new people. So let's see what happens with this podcast, and let's see how it goes. If the chemical engineering community will like it, or I don't know. Let's see what happens. That's the point, to explore and experiment and see what happens.
It's going to be
Okay,
awesome. Yeah. I always wanted to do a startup, but I did not have the guts. I still don't know which area to explore or where to push or what to go for or what to manufacture. So hopefully,
that's something I also want to consider in the podcast because lots of chemical engineers want to start something or open a new chemical plant or product manufacturing, but being an entrepreneur in chemical engineering is kind of hard because you need a lot of maybe investment, or that's the very straight idea that we have chemical engineers, that you need a lot of equipment, you need a lot of investments and so on. So that's also one topic to consider. Maybe we can talk about that when you start your manufacturing plant.
sure, it's very big dream come true, but the capital investment, as you say, it's quite a bit. So for startup, let's think small. Let's take baby steps, one step at a time. Hopefully, it works
True.
out.
So yeah, actually, there's these like theories or new trends of starting small and validating your product, and if it's getting like sold, then you go and make it like a large plant. Because many of us think, okay, I have the product, it's going to work, and they invest in the plant and then manufacture it, market it, and they see that there was actually never a market for that product. So that's also important to consider.
Yeah, scaling up is a big thing, and studying our market is the biggest thing. Like, marketing is the key. If you nobody's going to buy your product, there's no point in manufacturing it in the first place. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay. Rutbis, let me start with the first question, and it will be, what would you add to your bachelor syllabus? Something that you think will help you either in the short term or long term.
I'll add some data managing tools and coding, at least because it is the need of the hour. Like, because of this pandemic, we actually escalated a few years. Like, everything was going to be online eventually, but we actually ate up the 5 years gap which we had in our hands. So right now, coding is a must. Is a very big deal. Simulate, because our syllabus not generally doesn't much focuses on the simulation part, and that is how it works. Like, now, rather than actually creating pilot plans and everything is simulated, virtual reality, stuff like that.
I also think we gotta have more like software introduced into our syllabus. It's important to know how to simulate, how to use data management, all that. Maybe even some AI will be nice.
Yes,
Who knows?
AI, IoTs devices, like IoT can be a very big boon to chemical industry. Obviously, we are using much of it in automated plants, but there is no limit to it when it comes to IoT.
Okay. Second question: what do you have a favorite engineering book, and which is it?
I am going to say Chemical Engineering Thermodynamics by J.M. Smith and Vennas, McGraw Hills. That is a book which is fantastically written. The language is perfect, and the way the thermodynamic concepts are explained, it pretty much covers everything. For thermodynamics, I definitely go to that book, and that is one of my favorite things. And obviously, there's Perry.
Okay, nice. I also like that book. Actually, when I studied chemical engineering, that was one of my best investment because it has thermodynamics and it has a little bit on material balances, and I don't know, it has a lot of material in a single book.
Yes,
Okay.
fantastic.
Who do you think chemical engineering is for?
Chemical engineering generally, I'll say it acts as a bridge. Like the product is coming into reality. We study the market, like we have researchers studying the market behavior and the need of the market. And on the basis of that, we establish a product. The main job of chemical engineering, according to me, is scaling up, like producing in the product in the best effective as well as economical way possible with almost zero wastages. And with obviously cheap economical ways and faster production and with quantity as well as quality. So that is the key focus of a chemical engineering, to produce, how to scale up things, like from how to go from pilot to actually scaling up to a big good size unit manufacturer.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. That's one important thing always to consider. Okay, let me go here. What's your favorite engineering subject?
I'll say heat transfer.
Really? That's nice. Why is it?
Heat transfer, I generally got it. Like heat transfer, it synced with me. I was very fluid with it, and I understand how it works. It is easy for me to visualize, and it is easy more, like I'm generally like how it is. Absence of heat can make so much difference. The temperature, a sudden change in temperature, a slight degree of changing in the temperature can make out so many things. Heat transfer is something I've always been fascinated. It's around us. We see it in daily life. We have everybody of us has experienced it in some stage. So I guess heat transfer. I don't have much to add.
Okay, nice. I like it, but not my favorite. I think it's important also, as you said, you find it in thermodynamics, you find it in energy balances, you find it in unit operations and plant control, plant design. So yeah, for sure, it's a very important subject.
What's your favorite subject then?
I will say maybe reactor engineering. I love it, or separations. That's also an interesting one.
Yeah,
Okay,
nice, nice.
sorry. Talking about subjects, which one is the one that you hate the most, or maybe that you have problems with?
I'm gonna say reaction engineering because
Oh,
I'm not very good with it. I It was very difficult for me because when we are studying reaction engineering, the basic assumption we make is considering the system to be ideal and minimizing the losses. But when it comes to reality, steady state does not exist. Like when you starting up or something, transient state is always there. Like my when I was taught reaction engineering, not many things were covered and everything was very assumption based and very ideality based, and there was no actual approach to it. So that led to my decreased interest. We had reaction engineering too, which covered the non-ideality and everything like that, but it was not much in detail and was more of theoretical, I felt so.
okay, okay. Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Okay, now let's go to maybe uh, more professional focus questions. So
Yeah.
my first question would be: I know that in consulting, the main idea is to get leader focused people. So how do you think one becomes a leader?
The foremost quality of leader is to be unbiased. Like you don't have to select one over the other. You have to treat everyone with a single eye, with a single focus, and do and think big. Like do for the greater good, and not be emotional at times. Like obviously, when we are working something and we have a team of people with different personalities. Obviously, everybody has different personality, and chaos are bound to happen. There will be arguments, there will be disagreements, but when if I'm the leader and I had to take the charge there, take the lead there, my main focus would be to think about the bigger picture and not let my emotions take a toll or not be biased against each other. There's always a way out. Think calmly and think about the goal. Set your mindset, set your targets right. And the main and the core thing a leader should have is a schedule. Things Planning of things is of uttermost important. Like you should have a gist of things, like what should be go, a basic timeline in your mind of how to carry out a project, and motivating. Like a good motivator is always the bread. Constructive criticism is the best approach to for a team work or when you're going through a team projects or something like that.
Yeah, I think motivation is something key, especially in very like group or team oriented goals. Okay.
Yes.
Let me question. Okay, so if you could trade jobs with someone, it can be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, whatever time you want to. Which will be the job?
I'll say I'm going to be cliche here for a moment. I'll say Mukesh Ambani. Like he is the owner of the Reliance Industries, and he's quite a big deal. So I'll
Yeah,
swap
true. Yeah,
him.
I know. In India, it's a very like the reliance industry is like very important, and
Yeah,
it's one of like I don't know if maybe pride, but it's definitely something very huge in
it's
India.
a
So can you let us
powerhouse.
know?
Yeah.
Can you let us know more on us, maybe your perspective as chemical engineer, more about him?
Okay, so he was also from Mumbai. He also is a graduate in chemical engineering, as obviously everybody knows. So he started small. His father started up this Reliance Industries, and he there's a plant in Patal Ganga which manufactures xylene. Which was it is being said that Mukesh Ambani handled that entire plant. I actually visited that plant. We had an industrial visit there. It is a beautifully manufactured, beautifully planned out plant. It is very automated. It has a continuous production of xylene, and I don't remember orthoxylene or what xylene, but it's very nicely planned, and the space is used exceptionally well. You won't find any clogged up pipes or extra drains or extra equipments or anything like that. It's properly the manufactured properly and good. I guess.
Okay, nice, nice. I know he's a very important man, and he's one of the top millionaires, well, billionaires, I think, right?
Yeah. Billionaire.
Okay. Okay. And I know I also know it's one of the let's say go-to works for engineers, so that's also important. Okay. Now let me ask you this question: what will be your dream job?
I guess right now I'm thinking small, like 5 years from now, my dream job would be to at least be a process engineering manager or something like that. I know it's a small dream, but I guess that is achievable dream. I don't believe in I mean unachievable dreams. So I guess that is feasible. That is cool of me to expect.
What do you think is the future of chemical engineering? It can be in your country or in the world.
Obviously, chemical engineering, when you are looking at this, the jobs has to increase because right now we are energy and the things we manufacture never goes out of time. Like everything right from small, from your toothbrush, toothpaste to your shoes and everything. Some part of it, when it was under manufacturing or chemical engineering, has been there and it will always be there. The jobs are going to rise. The curve is always exponential, and it's always going to be exponential because our field is very generic, and no matter what we do, world is always going to need chemical engineers.
That's true. We always need to drink clean water. We need agrochemicals for our food. We need plastics, maybe. We need a lot of like textiles, colors, paintings. There's a lot of things that we will not be able to get rid from the chemical engineer.
Yeah, everything involves chemical engineering. So
Let's go now to the last section, which is random fact questions.
okay.
Okay. So, what do you use to get more active? Maybe it's studying, or maybe when you were in the internship. Coffee, tea, or energy drinks? What's that do you use? Or maybe nothing.
I'm a green tea fan. I have kava tea. I don't know if you've heard or not. So that is fantastic. That works well with me.
Okay, no, I haven't heard about it. I know green tea, but no, I'm not that great of a fan. I like it. I actually tend to use it when I don't want to drink coffee, either black tea or green tea. It's great. Okay, nice. Let me know more on your current hobbies. What do you do for like get rid of stress or maybe your free times? I don't know. What do you do as a hobby?
I'm a bibliophile. I love books. Fiction is my genre. I generally opt for fantasy based books. Like in my free time, if I'm not having anything planned or any exam schedule or anything like that, I read. I even jog. So that is one of my morning rituals. Like I have to jog for an hour and I try to read before bed, at least half an hour or 10 minutes, but something of that. If I do not read or I do not do it, somehow feel incomplete. I don't know if it makes sense or not, but that is how I work. And I'm trying to get a hand on nonfiction, but I don't find it much more appealing.
Yeah, fiction is always
But
a great way to go and I don't know how to say it, but just go and explore crazy places without even moving.
yeah, it gives a sense of what reality can be and how much better we can be. So fiction is
Exactly.
always better.
Or how worse can we be or get? That's
Even
also
that's true.
amazing. Okay, Rutvi, a hobby that you want to develop, maybe that you wanted from your childhood, or maybe you are having doubts whether or not you should go and check out. But one thing or set of hobbies that you want to explore.
I was in my high school. I opted for guitar and I somehow left it in the middle. I thought it was too hard for me and I couldn't do it. I'm not very good at singing. So if there's an opportunity, I'll definitely complete my guitar and at least I should know one to how to play a single musical instrument or something like that.
Yeah, I also have the saxophone. I have tried to play it, but it's kind of hard. But I try, and I have this like pending hobby to develop. I have it right here, and it takes time. So it's a personal tip. You gotta be committed and try it 1 hour daily at least, because otherwise it will be you will get frustrated. But that's on my own. Okay, last question. So, what do you hear or listen to other podcasts? And if so, recommend us maybe one or two shows.
I actually came across a very innovative podcast on Spotify. It was related to Harry Potter, so I that was my first podcast I ever listened to. Then I generally go to YouTube and surf random podcasts. I don't have very selective podcasts like I do not play favorites here, but it's okay if something there's the topic interests me or something like that. I'll go for it.
Okay, Harry Potter one. That sounds interesting. I'm not a great fan, but I am sure that there are a lot of people that might be interested on that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Rudby, this was it. All the questions I wanted to know very quickly. I don't know if you want to add something else to close the episode. Some tips, maybe some recommendations, some motivational phrases for our audience.
Yeah, for the young ones out there, I'll say hard work. There's no substitute when it comes to hard work. You have got to work hard and keep your aspirations limited. You can achieve anything, but not everything. Like that is the thing I go with. Like there's no limits when it comes to your ambitions. But if you want it all, that is not going to happen.
That's interesting tips. So thanks for sharing, Ridvi. And once again, guys, thank you for hearing us and listening to this great podcast. And we will see each other in the following episodes. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Sure, Ridvi. Whenever you like, you're invited. See you soon, guys. Take care. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And before you go, I will really appreciate it if you take the time to share this podcast with your fellow colleagues, classmates, friends, or really anyone that might be interested on the topic of chemical engineering and its related fields. If you found this content helpful and valuable, please consider subscribing, rating, and leaving a review. Thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot.